Today we're going to be talking about gaining muscle and losing fat with OMAD, so advanced OMAD. One thing that I've sort of figured out with OMAD is that this is something that you may not have really heard before, okay? And I'm going to give you some of the science behind this, but I'm going to give you the basics of this. The way that your body works, the way that it processes sugar or carbohydrates when it comes into your body is that when you get carbohydrates, okay, your body secretes insulin. And insulin, what it does is it causes certain receptors on your muscle, skeletal muscle, okay, on your body, your organs, your fat cells that are insulin sensitive, okay, that have insulin receptors in there to basically open up, and they will basically take the carbohydrates and the insulin will shunt them into those cells, whether that be fat cells or muscle cells. In order for you to gain fat, is that insulin causes these insulin receptors to be activated, okay, and now it's basically like the gateway is open so cells can store stuff. You have to have some carbohydrates, insulin gets released, and then that insulin causes those carbohydrates to go into the fat cells. Now, people who are type 2 diabetics, they have an insulin insensitivity. So that means that it requires more insulin for their body to basically get the effect of reducing the blood sugar level, of getting the sugar out of their blood. And what it really means is that their muscles are less insulin sensitive, but the fat cells still are. The calories that come in, they basically end up getting stored more likely as fat because it requires a higher level of insulin in order to get the job done. Insulin and insulin sensitivity determines what happens with carbohydrates, okay? And whether they get stored as fat or if they get shunted into the muscles is to replenish the glycogen stores, right, and the other purposes of them. We can actually maximize the timing, the windows of opportunity here. And so if your body goes for some time, like if you fast, and you don't have carbohydrates for a while, your body's actually going to become a lot more insulin sensitive. So it's going to take less insulin to produce that response. That's why fasting and low carbohydrate diets, like ketogenic diets, can actually cure type 2 diabetes. Not type 1. Type 2, you can actually be cured by doing this. There's a lot of instances of this happening nowadays. I can restrict my carbohydrates, okay, so that I'm fasting and I'm not having very many carbohydrates, except for the window in which time my muscle cells are primed for insulin responsiveness. They're most insulin sensitive. And that happens to be right after we lift weights, after we work out. You've heard about that anabolic window. There's a couple of reasons why this happens. The whole idea here, okay, is that what we want to do with this advanced OMAD, if we want to gain muscle and lose fat at the same time, we're going to do kind of a cyclic thing here. So my basic protocol for doing this is that Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays, Sundays are cardio days. On cardio days, I'll do my runs. I'll do like my Muay Thai kickboxing class or whatever. And I will eat ketogenically mostly, right? So I'll basically eat high fat, or lately what I've been doing is high protein, okay? And I'll eat some fat in there too, but high protein, high fat, very, very low carbohydrates, just vegetable carbs, okay? Then Monday, Wednesday, Friday are my lifting days. On those days, what I'll do is I will eat carbohydrates, high carbohydrates, still high protein, very low fat, super low fat, and only after my lifting workouts. So if you think about this, this is what's happening, okay, from a scientific standpoint. On those cardio days, so I'm carb depleted, I'm using up all that glycogen in that run. Do a 10-mile run, whatever it is, okay, I have to use all that liver glycogen. I'm basically using it all up, okay? Then Saturday night, I eat, a steak. Okay, maybe some eggs and a couple of vegetables. Okay, so I'm not replenishing the glycogen stores, right? I'm not having carbohydrates. Sunday, I go and run, okay? And so now I'm really low on glycogen. My muscle glycogens, everything is kind of being depleted, right? Sunday night, again, I eat ketogenically. Monday comes around, I'm fasting. Again, we're doing one meal a day here, right? So about 3 o'clock, I hit the gym and I start lifting weights and I do a full body workout, okay? Now, when I do this full body workout, I'm depleting a lot of the glycogen that's left in the rest of my skeletal muscles. My liver glycogen's completely depleted. I should be in ketosis at this point, really, most likely at this point. And I'm depleting a lot of the rest of the muscle glycogen. Not 100%, because it's really hard to deplete 100%. You'd be like falling over, okay? But a pretty large percentage. And then what happens is a thing called super compensation. So after that lifting workout, what I'll do is I'll have my one meal, but I'll have a bunch of rice. Okay, or I'll have, you know, a bunch of potatoes or some kind of, even sweet potatoes, some kind of starchy foods, right? I'll eat high carbohydrates, and you could even have a bunch of sugar. At first, when I was doing this, I was like eating like ice cream and burritos and shit. But what I realized, like, to optimize this was that you want to keep the fat really low. When you have insulin present, it basically is the storage mechanism, right? You go into a storage state. What will happen is the way that your body works is that if your glycogen is depleted, it has like an express train, right? So any carbohydrates that come in, they cannot be stored as fat. They have to go through and get stored as glycogen stores first. If you're eating fat along with it, you can gain fat, right? So it's very selective the way we're doing this. So that's the basic protocol. And what will happen, and you know, you can measure this on the scale, is what will happen is that you'll basically go through these anabolic and catabolic states. When you're lifting weights, okay, and you're eating those carbohydrates, you're going to be replenishing glycogen stores. All those carbs are going to go into the muscles, and you're going to put yourself in an anabolic state, this anabolic window that you're taking advantage of, and you're going to build muscle and possibly gain some muscle. Now, you're not going to gain a huge amount of muscle. If you want to gain the most amount of muscle possible, eat like a fucking pig and lift a crazy amount of volume. That's going to give you more muscle than anything else. But if you do it this way, what's going to happen is that on those lifting days, you're actually going to be able to put yourself in a slightly anabolic state, so you can actually gain some muscle, especially if you're a beginner. And when you're doing the fasted and the cardio on the cardio days on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, you can mix this up if you want. You're going to be actually burning fat off, and you might actually end up, you know, catabolizing a little bit of muscle, but you're going to be making up for it on the Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You're only eating enough carbohydrates to replenish the glycogen stores, which you're going to have to play around with. It's pretty much impossible for you to gain fat, right? You're going to eat your protein, you're going to eat your carbohydrates. If you think about it, you should probably be in an overall calorie deficit throughout the week, so you're going to be losing fat, but you're going to be sustaining or possibly gaining muscle. And I've been able to do this, and I've been able to cut and keep all my muscle, and sometimes go up, you know, maybe a pound or two of muscle within a month by doing this. That's it. That's my secret. That's the magic. I will talk to you next time. Take care.